My name is Amanda Boyles, and I'm the Oregon Department of Fish and Wildlife Angler Education Coordinator.
So my name is Cheyenne Green, and I work at the Oregon Department of Fish and Wildlife in the Wildlife Division, and I'm an office specialist.
I'm Kat Sandor-Court. I'm the Outdoor Skills Program Development Coordinator for Fish and Wildlife.
Well, I've always been hunting. I grew up whitetail hunting and pig hunting mainly down south, and when I was going through school, some of my grad school buddies asked me if I was interested in duck hunting, and I told them I had absolutely never been, but I would love to try it. And so pretty much every weekend they went, I started going, and I met some friends, and we went all the time, and I just loved it. It's fast-paced, it's fun, you can talk, and it's a really fun group activity, and I love duck jerky, so it's good.
So I actually didn't start hunting in general until I was 18 or 19. I did not have anyone around me, family or friend-wise, that hunted, and it was just something I was so passionate about wanting to do. And I actually started working at Sportsman's Warehouse in Salem, and I was a cashier there, and I just started asking a million questions. I just started talking to the hunters and just honestly use them just to gain as much knowledge as I could, and I just did as much research as I could. I ended up having a friend who hunted, but he wasn't much into waterfowl hunting, and he's like, hey, I have this pond on my property that gets some birds. If you want, you're more than welcome to come out and see if you can get any. And I was like, heck yeah. So I brought my friend who wasn't into hunting at all, but she's like, I'll go with you, sure. So we woke up bright and early and we headed out there and got the blind set up. I got my decoys all set up and I was so pumped, and like 15-20 minutes into the hunt, some teal started buzzing in, and so I tried calling, which again was terrible, but we ended up coming out with I ended up coming out with a couple teal. So I really think that hunt kind of set me and got me hooked in my obsession for waterfowl hunting. So I really just kind of had to find out where to start, and from there I just took every opportunity I could, and now I'm married to someone who is a bigger waterfowl hunter than I am, and so we spend a lot of time out and about during the waterfowl season. So yeah.
Duck hunting is something that I've kind of wanted to get into when I first started hunting. I didn't grow up hunting, I grew up fishing, and I knew some friends who were into it, but it never ended up working out, so I got into big game hunting, and it wasn't until I came to ODFW that I met Cheyenne, and she was like, hey, is this something you still want to learn? And I was super excited, and she invited me out to Summer Lake. So I just went last year for my first time, and I'm super excited about continuing to learn and do it again this year.
So the main obstacle for me was gear. All I had was my dad's old super puffy stuff that he used to take whitetail hunting in Wisconsin. So there was me out wearing oversized stuff. When I'd pull up the shotgun, it would catch and I'd have big bruises. And when I finally bought my own set of waders and a nice jacket, you know, just a normal rain jacket, I really was able to up my game and had a much better time out there.
For me, the biggest obstacles that really stand out, honestly, in the beginning was finding someone to go with. Was really hard. Just finding even someone to take me with them, just knowing where to start. That was more of my biggest obstacle in the beginning. And then as time went on, another obstacle I feel like I had was my confidence in my shooting, which seems like a silly thing, but when you're with guys that have been hunting for a long time, they're just quick at drawing their guns and everything. It just could be intimidating. So just finding confidence to practice and just honestly know that as long as you're practicing, you can do good.
So probably the biggest thing for me is just finding people to do it with. So if I don't know how to do something, I like to learn from other people and not having that group. But like I said, I met some people last year, and I'm gonna just continue to go out and do it more.
Spoonies. I love spoonies. They're just so pretty. Big drake male. I've never shot one, but one of these days I will.
My favorite duck is a bufflehead. I feel like that's such an underrated bird. People have this formed opinion, I feel like, about diver ducks, but I just think it's such a beautiful duck. So my husband and I, a year ago, I think we both shot the drake and the hen, so those are both at the taxidermist. We're getting those mounted because That's been my favorite duck since I first started duck hunting.
My favorite duck would probably be a wood duck. I haven't gotten to harvest one yet, but they're just so beautiful. And I heard that they really like the hazelnuts around here. And so I'm just picturing a pre-stuffed wood duck. Yeah, I would absolutely love to have one and try it.
Honestly, it may seem daunting at first. You know, there's people out there with fancy gear and they seem to know everything and they're telling you where ducks work and where they are. Just go out. I mean, I worked in Idaho for about 6 months as a temp job. I didn't know what I was doing, but I brought my shotgun and I just sat on the bank and I hunted when I could. You don't need all this fancy gear. Just get out and have a good time.
I would truly say just go for it. It seems very intimidating at first. I mean, especially being a female in the outdoor industry can always be kind of intimidating. So just go for it. Use your resources. I know my ODFW, there's a lot of stuff that kind of talks about how to get into waterfowl hunting.
To not fret about it, just go out and do it. I probably just, yeah, there's no reason to be nervous because what's the worst that that can happen? You not shoot a duck. There's more days to hunt duck and other waterfowl than there are in most other hunting seasons. So there's lots of opportunity to learn and to grow. And I would say just get out and do it and not worry.
So I'm not from Oregon. I was born and raised down south in Texas. And so that was where I first started going duck hunting. And I just found a public land spot that some of my buddies knew and we would go out there and that's pretty much where I went. So that's my favorite spot. I got spoiled down there. There's so much variety. And but now that I'm in Oregon, I would absolutely love to explore new places, try new things, and just get out there and drop some birds.
My favorite place ever, Summer Lake. So Summer Lake is public land hunting, but it is so beautiful. That is by far my favorite place.
Cheyenne took me up to Summer Lake, and it was really pretty. It was super pretty. It was cold, crisp. I loved watching the sun just kind of come up, and then we hunted all day and then into the evening and just watching that sun go down. It was just super beautiful.
Share some stories. What's your favorite? Well, I know all your stories
because you were there.
What's your favorite story when I fell in the water?
Maybe.
Amanda?
I can't tell you my favorite story on camera. My most successful one, this was really funny because I was with one of my buddies and this was just because his gun was jamming and he couldn't figure it out and we were jump shooting and 3 birds just like came right up and I just popped up and busted all 3 of them and his gun wouldn't fire. It was good.
That's awesome. I fall a lot, I guess.
That was pretty funny.
I don't know. I guess my feet can't move. Summer Lake is kind of hard because the mud is so thick.
Oh, you get sucked down so bad?
So my little legs want to go faster than my boots want to let me. So my boot will stay in the mud and I'll go flying. And most of the time it's on the way out and it's freezing cold. So that
happened.
I had a gun that liked to jam a lot. So.
Oh, both of our guns last year went for a swim.
Yep.
They it was below freezing. It was like 20 degrees out and the stools were iced over. And first mine did it because there was like a slight tilt and I set it down for just a second and then all of a sudden I turn around and I just see the bubbles in the water.
You're like, was that my gun? I was like, I think so. I don't see your gun anywhere.
And then like 5 minutes later, her gun did the same thing.
Napping. I am the pro at taking a nap in any type of blind anywhere. So unless you're like at a decent duck club or you're somewhere where you get more of a permanent style blind setup, I can just nap anywhere. I can make a little bed out of the reeds. This is on a slow day, obviously. This is when it's slow. But I have had a swamp stool that I had my waders and I sat on my knees in the water and laid my head on my stool to take a nap. And I fell asleep.
That's awesome.
Did anyone get any pictures?
No one cared enough.
I got scared by a pig in a blind one time. This thing like...
Did it snort at you?
No, well, yeah, it did. I did. This little dude, well, he was huge.
So it was a dude or it was a pig?
It's a pig.
It's a dude pig.
Dude pig.
So yes, this pig was just creeping up and I finally heard like a splash and a... Right there, like a 200-pound thing. And
Oh my
Oh, really?
I didn't want to hit him with duck shots, so I didn't shoot him, but
Hunting in Texas.
Maybe he just
Yeah.
wanted your snacks.